Hey, good morning. What's poppin'? This your boy Jay the Comedian. How y'all doing today? Today I have a headache. Right there. Yeah, my head's banging. But I'm still putting out a video. Because today I was thinking about some stuff. And I want to talk about a subject that I've noticed that goes around the XJW community. Do the governing body believe in the stuff that they put out? Or are they just full of it, you know? And they're just evil, greedy men. Which one is it? I'll tell you. They're just evil, greedy men. And this is going to be proof that they're just evil, greedy men, you know? Like, they're not out to help or save the world. They don't think that they're on a mission for God. They don't even really believe that they're anointed. Are they narcissistic? Absolutely. But they're not anointed. They don't even think that they're anointed. And I can prove it. First off, let's look at the whole, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read Raymond's friend's book, Crisis of Conscience. I read it. Now, in that book, he said that when they came up with, regulations and rules and laws for the Jehovah Witnesses to follow, sometimes they didn't even look in the Bible. They didn't even open it. They were just sitting there like, well, I don't think we should do this. I don't think we should do that. You know what I'm saying? Like making up their own mind about stuff that should go on in everyday human life for the Jehovah Witness members. That's not cool. That's like me making a bomb recipe. You know what I'm saying? Like if I got a recipe book, right? And I put it on the table. And then I made some fried chicken that was amazing on top of the recipe book. But I never opened it. And then somebody's like, oh man, this chicken is amazing. Where did you get it from? You know, well, it's based on the recipes out of this book. Would you like to buy one? And then I sold them the book, you know. Now, when they get home and they try to make the same fried chicken, but it come out tasting like turtle ass, they're going to be like, yo, I followed these recipes exactly, and it tastes like turtle ass. How did you do that? What am I doing wrong? Did you make the meal on top of the book? Like on top? I thought you said it was based out of the recipes in this book. Oh, it is. You know, does that make sense to you? It does or it doesn't. Because that's kind of what the governing body do. They say things are based on the Bible, and they do their damnedest to stretch it out. Like the whole disfellowshipping thing, right? Oh, you know, don't be around wicked people, all that good stuff, right? Even though if we're following Jesus' example like we're supposed to, Jesus didn't shun anybody. But whatever, I digress. The scripture said, you know, don't be around wicked people. That's really stretching it out to be like, you know, I can't be around my family and friends now because they done something. And I actually can't even really sit down and have a conversation and talk to them about what they did or did not do. And if the judgment was appropriate, I just got to go by what these completely biased men came to the decision to do. You know, that don't make sense to me. These men aren't infallible. These men can be wrong. At every point in the Bible, it says that. And that's another reason right there. There's a Watchtower articles and there's several court cases in which the governing body says, without, you know, any forethought or nothing, you look at it and it's clear as crystal. You know what I'm saying? They say they are not perfect. They are not inspired by God. And they're not infallible. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we make mistakes. So if they make mistakes, and if they can be wrong, and then they are not inspired by God, why are you disfellowshipping people who disagree with you? Does that make any sense at all? If I was to do a science experiment with somebody else, and he says, hey, I think this is going to happen, and I say, well, I think this is going to happen. And then what happens, what he says is going to happen, happens, and what I say is going to happen, don't happen. Do he get to be like, ha-ha, now get out of my office, you idiot. You're horrible. No, that's not how it works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. And based on the chance of you being right or you being wrong, you kind of just live with whatever happens. So if you're in the organization and people can be right sometime and wrong sometime, then you don't have to believe and trust and go with everything that they say. So that's my point right there. If they know that if they really thought that, people shouldn't listen to everything we say because we make mistakes and stuff like that, they wouldn't be out here disfellowshipping folks for not agreeing with them, you know? And then there is the whole, like, apostasy thing, right? That's probably the biggest red flag to me as far as them knowing that they're doing wrong. Because, for one, they say apostates are evil, disease-mind creatures who are just upset because they've lost the love of God, and they're working with Satan and they're trying to bring down as many people as possible. None of that is true. Like 0.000% of that is true. Any of it. Because first off, we're not lying. If you talk to an ex-JW, chances are you're going to get some of the most truth you've ever had in your life. And I'm talking about the truth you don't want to hear. The good truth. Like, Jesus, I didn't want to know that that I'm going to die and I can't live forever in heaven or paradise earth. I didn't want to know that. They tell you, like, oh, no, this is all you get. You better enjoy it. You better be nice to your family and friends, because after this, that's it. That's the kind of truth you don't want to learn. But, hey, the truth is the truth, you know? But back to my point. The Jehovah Witness governing body tries to shut off information from their members. An organization that actually believed that they had the truth and was doing the right thing and that they were actually inspired by God would not do that. It's called an assumption of guilt or something like that. I might be off about it, but it's basically when somebody displays that they believe that they're guilty. And the governing body does this all the time. They do things that would pretty much, if you're paying attention, and it don't take you paying much attention. You just got to kind of listen to sort of like, you know, background music, and you'll catch on. They do things that show that they're guilty. Like, for example, for years they were talking about the League of Nations and how wrong it is and how messed up it is to be involved with them in any type of way. That is the devil's organization, and they had a deal with them. And then they tried to, you know, quickly, once it was public, not before it was public, but after it became public knowledge, oh, they got rid of it, you know. Oh, we're no longer a part of this. Oh, I can't believe, I don't know how this happened. We needed a library card. It's BS. They were working with the League of Nations. The same League of Nations they were condemning people for working with before, you know. And yet they were working with them. See, this is the thing, man. They do things that show that they're guilty. If you have the truth and everything you say is the truth and people can research it, then boom, there you go. But do you know that even on your favorite jw.org, it don't go all the way back. It goes back to a certain point and that's it. You can't look up the 1914 stuff. You can't look up the 1975 stuff, I believe, you know? You can't look up a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff they've taken down and they removed because they're trying to control the information that their people get, and that shows their people guilt. They're trying to control the information that their people get. And as long as they're doing that, that proves that they're guilty. 100%. If somebody were to come over my house, right? And they're like, wow, Jay, your pants smells like poop and it looks like you pooped on yourself. And I immediately say, hey, you want to go over there for a second, please? Yeah, go over there. And then when they go over there, I like kick them out of the door and slam it shut. They're going to tell people, hey, I think Jay pooped on himself the other day. I was over there, it was stinking, and he had some brown stuff on his pants. And then he kicked me out of his house. I'm like, you know, Jack came over here last week and accused me of doing this stuff, when it turns out he the one who did it. I mean, like, it's kind of like that, where they're guilty of something. They are really, really guilty of lying and trying to control information that they get and turn stuff around, and they will quickly tell you you are doing something that they are 1,000% guilty of. You know what I'm saying? And they constantly do that. They'll tell you, oh, apostates lie, apostates will make up stuff, and they'll cherry pick information. Those are all things that they do. if you do your research, because once again, I always tell people this, and not only do I say do your research, look at who's telling you to do your research. We're telling you to research any and everything using any and every source available, and then reach the conclusion that the facts lead you to. What are Jehovah's Witnesses telling you? Just go to jw.org. Go nowhere else. Listen to nobody else. I saw a video yesterday. This girl was like, well, you know, if you look up the Australian Royal Commission and stuff like that, you're like, oh, you see, that stuff apostates put out. So apparently apostates run the entire internet. Everybody on the internet that's not a Jehovah's Witness and who has the internet site and is controlling information that goes on the internet is an apostate. Apparently, right? No, the governing body, they know exactly what they're doing. They're using this to get rich, to control people and live a good life on the back of just regular old folk, you know? That's what they're doing. That's what they've been doing. And something else that I found out over the weekend, they, like, okay, I always knew they kind of had little ties to the Masonic organization. Turned out, I seen this one picture of a convention center where it makes the eye, the all-seeing eye, the pyramid and the all-seeing eye at the top of it. I didn't think it was real. I was like, yo, they got to be like Googled or like somebody photoshopped. It's not. You can Google it. I don't know the name of the place, but this is Jehovah's Witness Convention Center. It's not in America, and I can't think of the name because it's some crazy other international name or something like that. But y'all should check it out. Matter of fact, I think I'll put a link in this video when I get to work, of course. Give me about 20 minutes. Anyway, I'm about to get off of this thing. Holla, Chiguala. Deuces.